All right. Well, welcome to what's really pretty much a relaunch of my channel, or attempt at starting a channel. Originally, what I was going with the Kartenspiel, punning off of the German idea of card games, and my last name, which is Cartsenel. And that was fun, but I think this is more fun because we're calling it Scotch and Games because now I have an excuse to drink and talk about games with whoever wants to hear about it. And more than games, I think gaming universe, gaming design, what's going on, industry trends, because all that stuff is really a lot of fun to look at and see. And so tonight, while I drink my Macallan double cask, if you really want to know, we were going to talk about Kickstarter because I've been in the gaming world for a long time now, cut my teeth with Fantasy Flight Games in the early 90s, back when I don't think they believed in playtesting, when they were still a bit of a startup, and have followed the gaming world since then, depending on time and budgetary considerations. Poor college students don't buy games usually. I've been a part of gaming or not as much as I've been able to. And I got to see Kickstarter start, and then I've gotten to watch it over, oh man, I don't even know how many years it's been. And I've been seeing some interesting trends in Kickstarter, and wanted to talk to you guys about them. So, first of all, let's just talk about prices. Game designers, if you're watching this video, stop selling games for 200 bucks plus. Now look, we all know that the entry pledge of 80 bucks isn't even a serious pledge, especially when we're talking about Kickstarter limited games. Like, look, I'll pick on the Street Fighter Kickstarter because I was looking at it. The models are amazing. Game looks pretty darn fun. Not $300 fun, I don't think, but it does look fun. So, you know, and mileage may vary if you're also a collector or whatever. Like, buy what you want, it's your money. But for those of us that like to have a lot of board games, like you see my shelf back there, that's just the beginning. I have many, many games, probably too many. But really, when that's becoming the norm, we have a serious problem. Now, here's the thing though, I can complain about that, but that's also being driven by what they call in economics demand. And so designers will make what they think will sell. And everyone seems to be imitating Cool Mini or Not, which is a fine company. Got no problem with them. Some of their games I have zero interest in. Others of their games I've owned and played for years. Rum and Bones, I don't know why they haven't continued with, because it's an absolutely amazing game. Have had a blast with it every time. It's actually a bit of a family tradition to play it on our beach vacations. So they do great games, but their big hallmark is these extremely, I don't want to say overproduced because that feels too negative, but these extremely miniature rich, very highly illustrated, gorgeous games. And that's cool. Like, it's awesome. But what happened was, is it seems like everyone's kind of caught on that that's what's expected now on Kickstarter if you want your game to succeed, which is a real bummer because when I started kickstarting games, and this is way back, I think my first Kickstarter was the original Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is a fantastic co-op game. Really, really fun. Many, many hours playing it. Gotten more than my money's worth. And the sad thing is that wouldn't even have a chance of funding today. And that bums me out. Because, first of all, I like card games. I love a good overproduced miniatures game as much as the next eye. If you guys see that ginormous box back there, that's The Edge Dawnfall. Great game from a great company, Awaken Realms. I'll name these guys. They do good stuff. And I just kickstarted Tainted Grail, and we'll do a video talking about that, because if you look up top on my shelf there, way up high, you can see I borrowed a prototype from a friend of mine, and have gotten to play it. So we'll talk about what I think of that game on another video. But again, that was a big game. I don't want to call that one overproduced because there's a lot of work that goes into plotting out the story, scripting, and all that. But again, the price tag on that sucker was $180. And now look, that's a game I really wanted, so that's fine. And by the way, yes, I'm aware there were lower pledges, but for these Kickstarter limited games or exclusive components or whatever, we all know that that pledge is just to get you hooked and following the campaign so that you up your pledge later on. And look, it's marketing. The company's got to do what they need to do to make money, and as long as the backer gets what they've paid for, fair enough. That's your call. But I really miss the old days when a scrappy new designer could come up with something, have a decent proof of concept. I mean, even back then, I was typically not kickstarting games that didn't have some kind of a print and play or some gameplay videos as serious, like these guys actually know what they're doing. If you've got stick figure drawings, I'm not kicking you. Sorry, that's just not going to happen. I want to see that you've put some real time, real effort into this. I don't mind you changing things. Actually, the poor Awakened Realms guys have caught a lot of heat for making changes to improve their games after their Kickstarters, which, by the way, I think that's a great thing, and maybe we can talk about, develop a whole video to Awakened Realms another tonight. But with Kickstarter now, when all we're seeing is these huge priced games, it puts a lot of stress on developers because, again, that's more money spent, that's development, that's mold costs, that's production costs, and we're setting ourselves up for really a Kickstarter fall. So we're in a Kickstarter boom right now, so we were looking at a bust because, just practically speaking, there are only so many $200 games a guy can buy in a year, which is, by the way, why I didn't go ahead and late pledge the Street Fighter game, even though I'm looking at it and going, yeah, I kind of want to watch some of the gameplay videos, and it looks fun, and I don't mind it being delayed, and we'll come to that in a minute, but delays in Kickstarter happen, and the people that complain need to stop. No more of that. In fact, that deserves a drink. See, that's the good stuff. But I didn't because I'm looking at my budget, because I'm a grown-up adult, I've got a family, a couple kids, and I can't just drop $200 here, drop $300 there very often. I mean, if there's something really special, yeah, I can make that happen. But when that's the normal price of entry, it's not going to happen very often for me. And I've got a good job, okay? So I have no complaints on my budget either. I don't need to be able to buy more games. I need, for cool games, to be at reasonable prices. And one of the things that's going to need to happen for that to be the case is everyone's got to be stopped looking for these amazingly fancy miniatures on games that don't need them. It puts too much on new developers. See, getting someone to do a 2D art, that's pretty manageable, and getting it printed and whatever, like that's good. Once we start talking about 3D modeling and then casting and all that, you're adding a whole extra layer of expense and complexity. And unless the average cost per pledge goes up with that, you're setting yourself up for a game that can't fund. In other words, guys, cardboard standees are good. Now, I will say I have a personal hatred of meeples, okay? Like, I don't like the boring little wooden chits. I don't do Euro games. I am, like, hardcore Ameritrash. I like killing things in board games only, for pretend. It's okay. I do not like, I have moved my wooden cube to block yours. How sneaky and dastardly of me. No. I want to take my shield and hit you and then cut you with my axe. And if you want a game like that, take a look at Evian, because wow, that's a game that's doing exactly what I talked about. Well, it did it. Actually, I'm kind of proud of that one because I was the guy who said, hey, instead of the wooden meeples, can we do standees? And the designers were kind enough to listen because, hey, it's their game. If they had said no, fair enough. I still would have kicked the game because the art was amazing and the gameplay was better. And that's saying something because that is a seriously beautiful game. But they did standees. They didn't try to do miniatures. And they barely funded the first time around. And that is a game I've played more than any miniature game in my collection except for Rum and Bones. And I've had Rum and Bones longer, and I've had more opportunities to play it. Evian will outstrip that over the next couple of years. Guaranteed. I've pulled that one out many, many times. So what do we do with that? Well, as the buyers, we vote with our dollars and say, I think I might skip this next big expensive Kickstarter. There's a couple that I have skipped this month. I looked at the Tsukiyomi game. Looks great. Gorgeous art. Cool, shiny. Just too much money. Late budging Street Fighter? Nope. Nope. Really, if we're being honest, I've probably spent a little too much already this year on board games. And, it's just April. And there are other games coming that I am interested in. One of them by Cool Mini or not. They're doing Bloodborne, the miniatures game. Maybe it'll be great, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a video about their Kickstarter when it launches, and I'll give you guys my live opinions. We'll see. So the other problem I'm seeing in Kickstarter, and this one is even worse than the overproduced problem that crowds out the smaller designers that are just getting started, are the backers. Oh, okay. Now, you guys, I don't know if you can see the gray hairs, but I've got the gray hairs. I'm old now, and I get that. But growing up, we watched Bambi. Hopefully, you all have seen Bambi. And in Bambi, Thumper says, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That needs to be a rule on the internet. I'd like to see that a little more. Because, man, there's just nothing that spoils my enjoyment of a great Kickstarter than looking at backers complaining about everything. Now, I know Kickstarter kind of pretends to be collaborative, but let's be honest. If you want a functioning game, it's really not truly collaborative. It is an elaborate pre-order system. And I'm not the first person to say that. And I'm okay with that, by the way. I think an elaborate pre-order system, especially for new developers, is great because then they don't have to risk all their funds on something that may or may not hit the market well. And look, guys, I wrote out the great Kickstarter deck builder obsession where for a while there, everything that hit Kickstarter was a deck builder like Dominion. And boy, let me tell you, did that get old. Saved me a lot of money, though. And I think now we're just seeing this big trend of these big expensive games. But the big difference is that people are going to run out of money. Like, you can't do this forever. And I'm on these backers and I read the comments and I recognize a lot of the usernames. I'm like, oh yeah, we were on that campaign. And now you're on that. You can't have unlimited money. But backers, the designers who make these games are real humans. And unless they're actually scamming, be nice. Like, if you've got a concern, it's cool to express it, but man, say it nicely, say it encouragingly. You know, when I went to the designers on Evian, this was just in the Kickstarter comments, and I wasn't the only one who thought the standees were a good idea. I just was like, hey guys, if you could, it'd be really cool to get standees. Instead of, you suck, your game sucks, the meeples are stupid, you should do standees, only smart people do standees. And, shockingly, when you're nice, people listen a little more. Now, they still could have said no, and that was their prerogative as the game designers. Me, I'm really happy they said yes, because it looks a lot cooler on the tabletop. But either way, let's go easy on these designers. They're working hard, most of them, to try to do this, in spite of some really seriously difficult problems. Like, I've been following the Giga Robo game, and believe me, when that comes out, we're going to do a playthrough video of that, because I'm still really excited. And that poor designer, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong with his Kickstarter. I mean, artist problems, modeling problems, and this latest one on April Fool's Day, naturally, was a component problem that involves recasting the buildings for all the games. And there are a couple guys there in the comments that are just reaming him out for it. And it's like, what, you think he wanted this? And if that was just an isolated event, I'd say, okay, maybe with this Kickstarter you should understand their frustration. But man, guys, I am seeing that in every single Kickstarter I back, of just call them trolls, call them whatever, but man, they get snarky, and then the backers get defensive that are trying to be and it just gets ugly. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kickstarter. Yeah, I just stopped reading the comments. I was done. Like, I didn't want to see any more negatives. I was just excited to get Turtle stuff, because it's nostalgic. And they were really bringing me down. So let's try to be a little more civil as backers. I mean, again, if you've got a question or a comment or a suggestion, yeah, share politely. Where you say, hey, have you thought about this? And if they say, yeah, we have, we're not going to do that, you go, okay. And if that doesn't float your boat, cancel your pledge. It's cool. I've done that a number of times where I get in there, I get excited about the game, I pledge, and I start thinking about it. I'm like, this isn't going to get play for me. Where I ask the designer a question, they're like this, and I'm like, I'm not buying it. And I just cancel my pledge, so I don't sit there and argue with them and tell them they're stupid and I'm smart. Because, look, I'm not a game designer. Maybe they're right and I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm wrong and or maybe not. Who knows? Who cares? Like, it doesn't require incivility. It just requires knowing when to walk. And if something the designer's doing is really rubbing you the wrong way, then walk. There are lots of great games out there. And don't pledge just to critique. If you decide you're out, you're out. That's cool. But don't spoil it for the rest of us, please. So that we can actually enjoy our Kickstarters and have some fun with them. That is kind of why we're in this hobby, right? We as gamers, we do tend to take ourselves a little too seriously. This is supposed to be fun. It's not life. And so let's enjoy our Kickstarters. Let's be passionate backers. Let's build communities, preferably in person. Though online community, it's not as good as in person. That's right. That's why we get into board games in the first place. It's not because we like playing at home alone. It's because we want to have friends and people and get together in person and push our miniatures or our cards around the table and try to out Euro each other or out Ameritrash each other or whatever. But have fun with it. Well, anyway, welcome to the relaunch. This is Scotch and Games. Hope you'd enjoyed this talk, and hopefully we'll see you next time. And if you've got any feedback, let's keep it civil, but let me know. I'm not going to change my glasses for you guys or anything like that, but if you'd like me to talk about something or you'd like my thoughts on a game, say so in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Cheers.